To tonight's event. My name is Michael Johnson. I'm the president here at John Carroll University and a citizen of University Heights. Thank you. I'm honored to welcome you to campus. I'm glad to see you all found our room and parking. Our women's basketball team is on quite a roll and they're playing tonight, so the games are getting busier and busier. This is an important milestone for both the city and the university. Because this is the first time that the State of the City address has been here on campus, and we're delighted to welcome the mayor and his staff and all the citizens of the city to talk here tonight. My wife and I moved. We live over on Miramar Boulevard, right across the street. We moved into University Heights last summer, and from the moment we moved here, we have felt welcome in this community. It's an incredibly welcoming community. In fact, we love Cleveland and the neighborhoods as a whole because of the strength of the neighborhoods. We've got to tell you one story. We were moving from Boston, and while we love Boston, and we made good friends there, it's a little provincial in Boston, and when people anyone here from Boston? Live in Boston? The Bostonians, they're very friendly until they get behind the wheel of a car. And then the vehicle becomes a weapon, right? And you're not supposed to make eye contact. So we moved to University Heights. We're here the first week. It was a beautiful sunny day in May, and my wife and two of our sons were home. They're all kind of grown up and off working, but they happened to be home. And we walked from Miramar up to the Whole Foods. It was a beautiful day. We're going to walk and get our groceries. We're walking back with our groceries. Right on Warrensville Center Road, we're walking back. A car pulls up with a family, and they stop in the middle of the road and roll down the window. And they start saying, it's just so nice to see a family walking together, to the grocery store. And we sat and talked to this family for 2 or 3 minutes, and they rolled up the windows and they took off. And my wife and I looked at each other and said, this would never happen in Boston. We have been proud to be in this neighborhood and a part of University Heights for 80 years. We always welcome opportunities to collaborate with the mayor and his staff and the folks over at City Hall. Since taking office last January, Mayor Brennan has continued to strengthen the relationship. It's been a priority for both himself and myself to strengthen the relationship between John Carroll University and the Heights. He's taken bold steps to invigorate the city's brand communication and economic development. I'm thankful for his leadership and the time he takes to engage with our students, which is something we talked about when I first met Michael, and work collaboratively with me and my staff. I look forward to learning more about the vision for the city, and I want to thank you all for being here, and please join me in welcoming the mayor of the city of University Heights, Ohio, Michael Dylan Brennan. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Johnson. You and I both took on the responsibilities of leading respectively John Carroll University and the City of University Heights this past year. And we did that with an eye to the future and as strangers to any past grievances between town and gown. In the coming years, I look forward to collaboration and partnership in advancing our mutual interests and achieving our respective goals. It is only fitting that I report to the residents of this city from the venue of this campus and our city's namesake since 1925. So thank you for allowing me the opportunity to make this address here on campus. Members of City Council, employees of the city, honored guests, and my fellow residents of University Heights. The most valuable resource this city has is its people, the residents who live here, and the people who serve this community. I would like to start this evening by honoring and introducing our City Council members. Our Vice Mayor, Susan Pardee. Councilwoman Pamela Cameron. Councilman Phil Ertl. Councilman John Rock. Councilman Steve Sims, Councilwoman Michelle Weiss, who I know is an adjunct professor here and is teaching this evening, so she's not in the room, and Councilman Mark Weiss. All 8 of us have taken a collaborative approach, yielding a productive 2018. We will continue to work together to serve this city, face the challenges ahead, and turn obstacles into opportunities to advance and improve this city. Next, I want to recognize the people who work in city government. They work diligently to serve this community. I'm proud to have them in this administration. Our directors, chiefs, and department heads, and all the employees under them, all understand the goals of this administration, and they've been empowered to use their expertise in service to this city and its residents. It is often said that in a democracy, people get the government they deserve. And often that is said with irony or criticism or as a scold. But here in University Heights, the people we have working in administration and on city council, and the people that we have working in City Hall are working tirelessly to give you their best because we all know that you deserve it. The people who serve this community are the greatest asset this city has, and I see it every day in the commitment, the work ethic, the joy of coming into work in a community that values public service. It is an honor to work with them, just as it is an honor to serve this community. It is because of the combined strength of the people who serve this city, the strength of our residents, our businesses, our schools, public and private, our religious institutions, and of course, John Carroll University, that I can report to you that the state of the city of University Heights is strong. We have done much this past year, and there is still so much to do. But I know that working together, we will continue to reach new heights. One of the powers of the office of mayor is the ability to perform marriage ceremonies. Last year as mayor, I performed 25 marriage ceremonies at City Hall. In the ceremony I use, I have a short passage that may not be original, but I always find it poignant. Love makes burdens lighter because you divide them. It makes joys more intense because you share them. It makes you stronger so that you can be involved in life in ways that you dare not risk alone. Whenever I recite these words at City Hall, I think of my wife, Gina, and I'm thinking of her right now. Gina, I could not do this. I could not be here without your love and support. So thank you. When I ran for mayor in 2017, I observed that University Heights is a beautiful, livable community with tremendous unrealized potential. I believe University Heights was missing too many opportunities that are right in front of us. Everything we propose is an investment in our city, our community, and our future. In our first year working together, here are some things that we've done so far. We have restored our safety services, starting with the fire department. We led off by replacing our fire chief on day one, appointing Bob Perko as our interim fire chief. Since that appointment, we have covered a lot of ground. We have restored training, better equipping our first responders to protect us in emergencies. We have reopened the Fire Prevention and Education Bureau, which is again making fire and safety inspections in this city in many places that have been done for the first time in many years. With the unanimous support of our city council, we are replacing the 26-year-old fire ladder truck, which spends almost as much time being repaired as it does being in active service. That old ladder truck was not available to us when we had a fire on Tullamore Road this past October. We had to wait 18 minutes before a ladder truck from another community was available to join the scene. By then, a woman on the 3rd floor who could not be reached by our responders, thankfully found the gumption to run down the steps past the fire and out to safety. If she had not done that, and with no ladder truck to rescue her. I don't even want to say what might have happened. A city like ours must have a ladder truck, not only for the tall buildings here on campus, or at University Square, or at Huntington Green, but in all of our neighborhoods. Anywhere you have living space on the third floor of a house, which is commonplace in our city. Under Chief Perko's leadership, we've established the department's first ever wellness and fitness program. We've replaced outdated radios. We have secured about $100,000 worth of donated equipment, together with approximately $50,000 in grants. We have restored and held community CPR classes. We have a new ambulance. The department held its first ever community open house. We now have a residential lockbox program. We held examinations for new hires and for promotions when the city had no current lists in place as of the beginning of last year. And we've made some new hires. And we will hire 3 more firefighters in 2019 to finally achieve minimum staffing. Looking ahead, with the restoration of the Fire Prevention and Education Bureau, we will again, for the first time in years, conduct fire inspections timely and thoroughly. We will restore the CERT program, the smoke detector program, and the car seat program. Turning now to our police department. 2018 saw the retirement of Chief Stephen Hammett, a respected and beloved chief, not only within this city, but throughout the state of Ohio. With the appointment of Dustin Rogers as our new police chief, we saw many changes, including the creation of the Office of Community Policing, which led to numerous community engagement opportunities, such as the Coffee with a Cop program, which we're having one this Sunday at the library at 2 p.m. And with the first local observance of the National Night Out. We have procured 3 new police vehicles and have begun a major update to the department safety manual. Like the fire department, the police department did not have a current hiring list at the beginning of 2018. The administration, this administration, will not allow that to happen again. Due to retirements and officers on medical leave, we were not able to hire and rehire promptly, which created a staffing problem and at times meant fewer officers on our streets. Well, we got complaints last year that cars were not stopping at stop signs, speeding, of the under-enforcement of moving violations. And I will tell you that our ticket revenue was the lowest it had been in many years. We did not want to make that common knowledge that traffic enforcement was lax in our city, so we worked together to schedule civil service examination and hire new officers. And on January 2nd of this year, we swore in 2 new police officers to our city. So, watch your speed. Bring your cars to a complete stop. Both Chief Rogers and Chief Perko addressed the city at our community safety meeting last August, together with our law director, Luke McConville, and our city prosecutor, Michael Astra. Previously, the fire department was left out of safety presentations. As your safety director, I found it imperative to present a more complete picture of our safety services by including both police and fire. Many of our residents met our interim chiefs for the very first time. And it was after the presentations that they made that I knew that our city had found our chiefs to lead our safety services for years to come. Shortly thereafter, we formalized their appointments, Chief Rogers, Chief Perko, on behalf of the residents of University Heights. I thank you once again for your service and commitment to the safety of our community. Turning now to our building and housing departments. We have passed or implemented a series of initiatives all designed to improve our housing stock. On day one, we passed legislation requiring banks foreclosing on houses to bring the exteriors of those houses up to code. In the first month, we brought in our new prosecutor, former Common Pleas Judge Michael Astra, and gave him a new and expanded mandate. Previously, our city prosecutor did not appear in housing court, leaving our inspectors to serve as both their own witnesses and their own advocates. Prosecutor Astrup not only appears in Housing Court now, but he helps our inspectors succeed in enforcing our codes. Prosecutor Astrup has obtained administrative search warrants, allowing us to enter vacant homes and structures and evaluate them for further action, including restoration or demolition. We have begun using the courts to clean up our housing stock. We offered last year, and will offer again on April 3rd, the Heritage Home Program in partnership with the Cleveland Restoration Society. If your home is over 50 years old, and most of them are in University Heights, you are eligible for free advice on home improvement projects and may apply for low-interest equity loans to pay for them. Late last year, the state approved our application to make all of University Heights a Community Reinvestment Area, or CRA. The CRA is a tax incentive to encourage current residents and prospective residents to invest in their homes. Qualifying applicants will receive a tax abatement on the increase in value of their home due to that investment for up to 15 years. Already, homeowners in this city are planning additions or substantial renovations rather than looking for new homes in other communities. The CRA will allow people to make the home they want in the community they already love. Other quality of life home programs include the Rain Barrel Workshop, the Solar Panel Program, the Backyard Composting Program, and the licensing and regulation of backyard chicken coops. We have reconstituted our Fair Housing Commission and are reviewing our fair housing laws to ensure that unlawful discrimination in housing finds no home in University Heights. Late in 2018, we divided our housing department from our building department. In dividing housing from building, we have also effectively merged our community development department into housing. Thus, our city's community development coordinator, Patrick Rogan-Myers, is now our city's housing director. This rearrangement also frees up our building department, led by our building commissioner, James McReynolds, to work on commercial properties, construction, and all the matters incidental to new development and redevelopment, because we're going to be seeing a lot more of that now. And we've hired 2 additional inspectors with state certifications that our department previously lacked. Dividing into 2 departments focuses our housing department on housing violations, the exterior maintenance program, the point of sale inspection program, and the rental registration program. Now, no one likes receiving a notice in the mail for exterior code violations. And point of sale inspections do add one more obligation to the process of buying and selling a home. But everyone likes living in a neighborhood with well-kept homes. The benefits outweigh the hassles, and the reward is better housing for us all, now and in the future. The overhaul of the rental registration program continues. We will be strengthening the program to increase inspections at rentals where code compliance is a problem, reward landlords who consistently comply with the code, require landlords to keep current tenant lists on file with the city, require landlords to designate a local agent or property manager who is an actual person living in the area and not an anonymous LLC, and require that insurance be maintained with proof of same filed with the city. The fee for rental registration will be going up, and it may be more than some cities charge, but it will be no more than what it costs to administer the program. Before the end of 2019, we will see a new rental registration program. We will see mid-block crossings and bike lanes on Warrensville Center Road. We will see the implementation of the CitizenServe software program to expedite building permits, the processes of issuing housing notices, and even the ordering of special pickups. Dare we dream to pay for special pickups and other payments by credit card? At long last, it is in the works. If Geraces can finally accept credit cards, so can your city government. Our efforts at rebuilding our city are not limited to the new separate housing and building departments. 2018 saw the creation of our city's first economic development department. For the first time, our city is treating economic development as something we seek, plan, and make happen every day. Since just September of 2018, our new Economic Development Director, Susan Drucker, has begun an active outreach program to our city businesses. By the end of 2018, she visited over 55 businesses in our city to speak with them about their businesses and what our city can do to assist them in their success. Mrs. Drucker orchestrated our city's first participation in Small Business Saturday, in which 30 University Heights businesses participated. She has updated our local business directory, compiled a list of available commercial space for incoming businesses, and has been the point of contact for businesses looking to locate in University Heights. Within the new year, we'll be starting a storefront renovation program, revising our zoning code, and working on larger projects here in the city, such as improving Cedar Taylor and University Square. University Square continues to be confounding to this community. Ill-conceived from the start and mismanaged for years. The fact that our Target and Macy's do as well as they do, is a testament to the strength of the consumer base in this community. It represents an opportunity for the right developer to make something not only productive, but special and worthy of this community. Taking out the vacancies at University Square, the commercial vacancy rate in University Heights is now under 5%. This is a reflection of not only our strong consumer base, but the fact that our community supports local business. The ongoing vacancies at the site are due, at least in part, to the present owners keeping the site clear for redevelopment. Those same present owners are entering year 5 of their 18 to 24 month plan to turn around and redevelop University Square. To their credit, I know the lack of results is not for lack of effort. I know this because this administration has been in constant contact with them. My first meeting with them in the month before I even took office. Our city remains ready and willing to repeal the special assessments on the property to clear the way for redevelopment once the owners have a developer in place with a plan worthy of the site and worthy of the city. Look, I know your patience is running thin, mine too. But also know that now, in University Heights, economic development is no longer something that we wait to have happen. It is now something that we actively seek and make happen. And we will make this happen. The city now works at this every day. Our city has a story to tell. We can do all these great things, but people also need to know about them. In listening to the concerns of the residents, our community has been, or at least has felt, underserved. Communication was lacking. Engagement was wanting. Resident concerns often went unanswered. At my request, City Council created the position of Communications and Civic Engagement Coordinator. And we filled it with Mike Cook, an experienced hand with media savvy, pop culture sensibility, a mastery of constituent service, and an old dad joke sense of humor. We've endeavored to go to where the people are. You will find us now on social media, on Facebook, on Nextdoor, on Instagram. We are emailing more residents than ever. We listen to the concerns over the litter caused by the Trash Tribune, Garbage Gazette, Rubbish Reader, and we are now producing a professional newsletter that we both email and mail. A print edition is mailed to seniors and anyone else who signs up for one. We also stock them at local businesses. We have begun a city magazine, the University Heights Mosaic. The first issue is scheduled to hit mailboxes on February 25th. The magazine is supported by ads taken out by local and regional businesses. And we plan on 3 issues this year. We have revamped and redesigned the city's website. The new universityheights.com launched earlier today. Overall, we have upped our game in communications. This City Hall returns phone calls and emails. This City Hall reads Facebook and answers questions. We have made a concerted effort to change the tone. Upbeat, positive, optimistic, humorous at times, but not frivolous. And overall, informative. You have questions, we have answers. You have concerns, they become our concerns. And this City Hall engages with the community. The rebirth of the Civic Awards was a major accomplishment of this administration and of our new Communications and Civic Engagement Department. Over 160 attended the event. It was in this room. The ceremony was entertaining. The recipients were happy to be recognized. And the event promoted and renewed our sense of community. The event tied in successfully with the launch of our rebrand. In December 2017, we met with Guide Studio and brought them on board last year to help us unearth our brand. We surveyed residents and stakeholders and reduced to the essence what it means to live in University Heights and to be in University Heights. The Mosaic logo is a celebration of our diversity, ethnically and religiously. People come from around the world and choose to live here because it offers a place to thrive and plant roots. We are well situated with cultural institutions and attractions both within our city and within close proximity of our community. When you live in University Heights, you live 10 minutes away from the medical, scientific, and cultural hub of northeastern Ohio. And you live 10 minutes away from I-271. We are right in the middle of everything, and that makes University Heights everything. The city logo reflects all of this. The colors represent nature and education. The U is implied in the shield and the H within. The shield implies safety of living in our community. The design itself is inspired by our own street grid, a neighborhood representative to our decades-old moniker, the city of beautiful homes. Over the course of this next year, we will continue to deploy the new brand. Any sign, any form, any place where you see the old door knocker, you will see the new mosaic. And you will see it a few more places as well. When you ride around our city, you can't always tell whether you are in University Heights or one of our neighboring communities. We are working now on wayfinding and signage that will better designate and celebrate our great city. While we are updating our signage, and while every community has a park, our community park needs a name, one that honors community and community service. Which is why I am announcing tonight the administration's intention to rename our new park in honor of the only individual to have served this community under the last 4 mayors and dozens of city council members. Mr. Simpson, will you stand up, please? You have served us in an exemplary So yes, our community park will now be known as Walter Stinson Community Park. In 2019, Walter Stinson Community Park will be the new home of the University Heights Summer Concert Series and of at least one summer movie night. The Walt will serve as the new starting and ending location for the 33rd annual B'nai B'rith Health Run in July, as well as the city's new inaugural City Beautiful 5K to be held in September, and of the city's new Fall Fest to be held in October. And while I haven't mentioned the Memorial Day Parade till now, last year's parade was the largest in recent memory, with participants from not only all over Greater Cleveland, but also our first Air Force flyover. It continues to be our single largest event in the city, as well as our official kickoff to the summer season. This event and all the others just mentioned will be among the special projects of our new Special Projects Coordinator, Rachel Mullen. Ms. Mullen is here to help us step up our game and to work in concert with our staff and community to plan and execute every special event. That all said, for a lot of people who live in University Heights, busy people who leave here early in the morning and return late at night, their engagement with our community might be limited to little more than trash pickup and snow removal by our service department, led by Service Director Jeff McCoy. So by the numbers, in 2018, the city collected and disposed of 4,540 tons of residential solid waste with tipping fees of $185,000. Included in this are 1,651 special pickups. The city collected and recycled 292 tons of mixed recyclables and approximately 20 tons of mixed paper and cardboard. The city collected and recycled approximately 2,300 tons of yard waste. The city conducts and conducted 2 household hazardous waste collection events with paper shredding. In the 2017-2018 winter season, the service department used 2,845 tons of road salt at a cost of just under $86,000. Last year, we implemented a modified sensible salting program to help ensure the safety of not only motorists, but pedestrians who use our streets, especially those walking in observance of their faith. In the area of urban forestry, we had 585 trees pruned, 34 trees removed, and 252 trees planted, for a total cost of just over $109,000. Because of efforts like these, the City of University Heights has been a Tree City USA for 40 straight years. During the leaf pickup season, we incurred over $49,000 in overtime, doing weekend pickup from late November through the first week of January, and paid around $18,000 to temp workers brought in for that effort. This was due in large part to late summery temperatures into October, causing so many trees to drop their leaves late, followed by an early snow season burying all those leaves in the snow. And I see quite a few of the men here who worked every day without break. We replaced a 30-year-old garbage truck, a 20-year-old dump truck, a 30-year-old leaf vac, a 39-year-old air compressor trailer, a 33-year-old sidewalk plow, 2 25-year-old leaf collection boxes, a 13-year-old Kubota rubbish scooter, all with new equipment, for a total of just over $479,000. We got a new street sweeper through a grant, and we spent about $432,000 on sewer maintenance and repairs. We are fortunate to have favorable contracts for solid waste disposal and recycling. But out of full disclosure, come June of 2020, we expect the costs for solid waste disposal and recycling to rise for us dramatically. The cost of landfill space is going up, and recycling costs are going way up. We've already seen our neighboring communities forced to face this. One nearby suburban city ended curbside recycling last month because it became too expensive, and they found it was cheaper just to throw things away. Another nearby inner ring suburb, which uses a private contractor to pick up trash and recycling, is struggling with how to pay for the cost of waste removal going forward. We must begin the conversation now about how we want to handle waste disposal and how we're going to pay for it. Mayor Irving Koenigsberg established backyard pickup in our city in 1966. We are one of 3 communities in the county that still does it this way. However we do our trash going forward, whether we continue to invest in the current system or make an investment to switch to other equipment to handle it another way. We're going to have to expect to pay a lot more for trash pickup and waste disposal. I don't like having to report that, but the community needs to know. Likewise, the community needs to know about our outdated municipal facilities. When our city hall was built in 1925, we were a village of less than 2,000 people. Sure, the people who planned our village expected us to grow, but we have long since outgrown this 94-year-old town hall. We recently and indefinitely moved all city council meetings to the Board of Education offices because our city hall is simply not accessible to people with mobility issues. Our wheelchair lift is no longer reliable. Replacing it with another chair lift is not only costly, around $70,000, but there is a legitimate design concern that a new lift may not be meaningfully more reliable than the existing lift, especially in the long term. On the other hand, a traditional elevator may cost $600,000 or more, consume an undue amount of the already limited office space that exists at City Hall, and constitute a major investment in a facility that would still be outdated in so many ways. City Hall floods from time to time, including a flood last spring that again destroyed all the carpeting in the Clerk of Council office and all the carpeting in the conference room. Carpeting that we didn't even bother to replace this time. Our building department and housing department are not even in City Hall. They are instead located in a house on Silsby, adjacent to the City Hall parking lot, with building on the first floor and housing on the second floor. Our Fire Prevention and Education Bureau and Economic Development Department are located at 2245 Lawrenceville in office space that we rented in 2018, a converted insurance office. Some of our committee meetings have been held in that space because it is accessible. Meanwhile, our firehouse was built in 1941. We recently ordered a new ladder truck. Of all the ladder trucks manufactured today in the United States, only 2 are small enough to fit inside the garage of our firehouse. The one that we ordered just barely fits, clearing the garage doorway by just a few inches. The firehouse kitchen continues to suffer water damage, despite repairs made a couple years ago. The showers in the firehouse are water damaged to the point of structural concern. By comparison, our police station is modern. It was built in 1953. It was built for a police department with 12 employees. We now have 30 employees and are budgeted for 32. There is no room in the police station for the Detective Bureau. The Detective Bureau is located in a house on Saybrook Road. The jail in our police station was shut down by the state of Ohio in 2017 as it was no longer fit for use. Anyone arrested in University Heights is sent to Solon for booking and holding, while the county also has jail facilities that it offers. Given the recent revelations of deplorable and dangerous conditions there, I absolutely will not send people arrested in our city to the county jail facilities. The service department facilities are similarly obsolete. There are not enough garages to hold all of our equipment. Garbage trucks and dump trucks and snow plows are all stored outside year-round. In the winter, our city mechanic starts their engines a full half-hour early before our employees even begin work in order to warm up the trucks and bring them to operating temperatures. Residents often ask, is there a city room that they can reserve or rent for a party or a reception or a meeting? The city has none. There is no community room, much less a community center. No senior center or recreation center. There is no public auditorium, no ice rink, no indoor pool or track, no dog park, no splash pad. Now, we don't have to have all of those things, but we do need a city hall that is accessible. All administrative departments ought to be under one roof. There ought to be a new firehouse, a new police station, one large enough to hold all of our officers, new service buildings. In our climate, city equipment ought to be stored in heated garages to better care and promote the longevity of that equipment. And something that our city has never had before, we ought to have a community center for our residents to use. As we make investments in the future of our city, we must begin work on replacing the municipal facilities. We need these to better serve you. We need these to compete with other cities that have these amenities as people looking to make a home in a community look for these amenities. And you should want these amenities for you and your family as well. We know it will be a big ask, but it is one that will allow us to better serve you, one that will allow our city to expand its offerings to you, and one that will make this an even more attractive community to live, work, and raise a family. Let's talk about other challenges facing our city. 1 year and 6 weeks ago, I assumed the office of mayor amid a time of crises. Over the course of the first 3 months of 2018, we learned the crises were deeper and more extensive. The first sign of this was on day one of this new administration when we took over in the middle of an information technology meltdown. City Hall's firewall had been breached. The password did not work. The installer could not be found or identified. And we soon learned that the city's IT had been handled on an ad hoc, a la carte basis, with no apparent planning or care, no consistency, no dedicated IT person or company. With that, there was no file server, no meaningful backing up or archiving, and the network was down and had been down. On that very first day, it was uncertain whether we would even be able to print agendas and materials for that night's council meeting. We called in an outside consultant on an emergency basis and paid emergency rates for that service, there being no service plan for the city. Looking back now, that day was emblematic of the many crises we would discover over and over during the course of this past year. The problems we inherited, all the things that we found that were broken and that we had to fix, we would work on while simultaneously not allowing those problems to unduly distract or derail our plans for progress and reinvestment in our city. Something we did not begin to know on our first day here, although we suspected from a lack of reports to council, was the crisis of mismanagement of the city's finance department. We would only begin to learn the depths of that problem in the first 3 months of 2018, and we have spent every day since then fixing that, and the work continues. As we go through the present budgetary process, we are still dealing with the consequences. Before I took office, we were all told that the city had a $2.5 million surplus. What we've come to discover is that this number was nothing more than sleight of hand, enabled in part by mismanagement of our resources. Don't actually try this at home, but imagine, if you will, that one day, even though you have not lost your job and you're still collecting a paycheck, that you stop paying your mortgage, your car note, most of your bills. That you don't fix things that break, and you don't buy nutritious groceries, just bologna and cereal to get by. And you don't change the oil in your car, or fix the broken windows or the roof of your house. And this may be an oversimplification, but the point remains, if you have the money and you just don't pay for things, you too can create a deceptively impressive balance in your account. But that is not a surplus. Allow me to be blunt. Up to the beginning of 2018, the city of University Heights was not paying its bills. The city was deferring many necessary capital expenditures, had abandoned maintenance on many city assets, and made expensive and/or shoddy repairs after things broke due to a lack of care. In early 2018, we paid a months-old repaving bill from 2017 to the tune of nearly $300,000 that ended up coming out of last year's budget. We had debt collectors calling, seeking payment for things such as the Code Red payment from June of 2017, when, incidentally, there is a free program that the county offers called Ready Notify that does essentially the same thing, and which the city will be moving to this year. Council appropriated money for an ambulance and for new police cars, the purchase orders for which were closed out by the old finance director without being paid for, creating the illusion of yet another surplus at the end of 2017. And by the way, we did order and obtain those vehicles this year. When one manipulates the numbers in these ways, one can take a snapshot of a moment of time to create the appearance of a surplus. One can draw focus to that number while diverting attention from everything else. You can also create the illusion of a stronger financial position when, in 2013, you take out $2.2 million in general bond revenue. You use $600,000 of that to buy the land for a park, use $250,000 or so to demo the old school on that land, refinance some short-term notes, and then put the rest of the money elsewhere in the municipal finances. Our city will be paying for those bonds well into the next decade, long after the money is spent. The consequence is that this city has been riding a wave of borrowed cash since 2013. But that wave has crested, hit the shore, and dissipated. And now we have some hard choices to make in this year's budget. On top of that, in the year 2017, the city of University Heights did not balance its checkbook. Not even once. Early in 2018, when we had our initial meeting with the auditors to do the city's annual audit, it became evident that we had nothing to give them. The city had not kept books in 2017 that could be audited. The city had not done any monthly bank reconciliations in 2017, and here we were in February of 2018, and they were still not being done. And at the same time, we were operating under temporary continuing appropriations as no budget had been passed for 2018, and under state law, we were required to pass one by the end of March. I called the then finance director into my office. I told him that on top of working on the current year's budget, we needed to go back and construct monthly bank reconciliations starting with January 2017. He said, "That's going to be a lot of work." And I said, "I know, a year's work. More even, because it's already February." I gave the two people I inherited in the finance office the opportunity to fix this. By the end of March, we passed a budget, such as it was. And by mid-April, when no progress in doing the books for 2017 had been had, the turnover in the city finance department began. Our city had to take 2 extensions of our audit in 2017, and that's the maximum allowed under state law. If we didn't come up with books by then, the city declared us unauditable. That would have been a huge black eye for this city, and that surely would have negatively affected our ability to make the kinds of investments in this city that we need to in order to grow this city and make it financially sustainable. The finance office was mismanaged the year before I got here, but then it had become my responsibility to fix it. And we did. It started in finding the right people. Our finance director now is James Goff. Mr. Goff is formerly of the State Auditor's Office and State Attorney General's Office, formerly the finance director of Canal Fulton. And when he took over in Canal Fulton, it was under similar dire circumstances. He turned around Canal Fulton, and he is turning around University Heights. With Mr. Goff and our new team in finance, thus began the salvage operation of the 2017 finances, while trying to hold together everything in 2018 so that we can now implement best practices in 2019 and make sound, long-range plans, and decisions. Our new finance staff reconstructed the 2017 books and gave the auditors something to audit, and we passed. Official word of that just came out in mid-November. We are transitioning to a new accounting system, improving record keeping, and now have internal controls in place. And even though cities are not required by law to do this, after our present budget process is concluded, we will begin working on a 5-year forecast, just like school districts do, to aid in our ability to make meaningful long-range plans for this city, something which simply has not been done in years, if ever. The city's biggest accomplishment in 2018 might just be that the new finance department saved our hides so that we can do the many things we need to do to rebuild and grow this city. Together we can overcome these challenges and accomplish great things in 2019 and beyond. As an aging city, with most homes over 50 years old or older, it is paramount that we not only maintain what we have, but that we build upon it. That is why in late 2018, we created a Community Investment Corporation, or CIC. When founded, we assigned our CIC the name University Heights Future Corporation. But that was just a placeholder. But the name City Beautiful has been part of our community since at least 1980. Mayor Burl Rothschild formed the University Heights City Beautiful Commission and filed it as a corporation that year. Now, that corporation ceased to exist in the mid-1980s, but the City Beautiful Commission was reformed under local ordinance. There are several civic projects that fell under City Beautiful, the last of which that remains is the Beautiful Homes Program and awards. But the larger mission of City Beautiful, as stated in the ordinance, and I quote, is to study, formulate, and develop plans for the beautification of streets, parks, and recreation areas, to encourage and recommend the placing, planting, and preservation of trees and other shrubbery, and to otherwise promote public interest in the general improvement of the appearance of the city. My friends, what is a CIC really, but to do all that and more? So tonight I propose that we rename the CIC to the Beautiful Homes Corporation. We won't just beautify the city, we will restore our beautiful homes and build beautiful homes. We won't just promote general improvement, we will make those improvements. We will take the historic name City Beautiful and transform its historic mission into the modern ultimate form, a tool of council, of administration, of housing and community development, and of economic development. It is another way we are moving forward here in University Heights. Mayor Burl Rothschild from time to time would refer to the city of University Heights as a jewel. It's easy to see when we're nestled between 4 neighborly prongs: Cleveland Heights, Shaker Heights, South Euclid, and Beechwood. We will continue to work cooperatively with our neighbors, be it the Heights Hillcrest Regional Dispatch, the EDGE Specialized Units, the Heights Hillcrest Technical Rescue Team, the Heights Libraries, who have been a great community partner, and last but not least, the Cleveland Heights University Heights School District. I would like to talk a little about our school district, but first, I want to talk a little bit about the city we share our schools and libraries with, Cleveland Heights. While we value all of our neighboring communities, I cannot deny our special relationship with Cleveland Heights. Idlewood was founded in 1907 when we broke away from Cleveland Heights and took a portion of Warrensville Township with us. Over the next few years, we traded streets back and forth with Cleveland Heights and Shaker Heights before settling on the present municipal boundaries. But throughout that and onward to today, we have always shared with Cleveland Heights a school district and a library system. Because of all this, our history and our fortunes are tied together. It will always be in the interests of University Heights to see Cleveland Heights do well. And it will always be in the interests of Cleveland Heights to be sure that University Heights does well. And accordingly, we work together. We endeavor to do so well and to continue to do so. This year, we are working together to improve Meadowbrook Boulevard and Washington Boulevard, two important streets that both of our cities share. We are committed to working together for the improvement of the shared Cedar-Taylor district as we look for ways to advance and promote redevelopment in that district. We watch with excitement the possibilities and vision for top of the hill in Cleveland Heights. And we share Cleveland Heights' pain over Severance Town Center as surely Cleveland Heights shares our pain over University Square. So with all that, we know, because it is in Cleveland Heights' interest too, that Cleveland Heights will support and cheer us on as we work with our shared school board in determining the future of the site of the former Wiley Middle School. This school year marks the final school year of educational operations in the former Wiley Middle School facilities. With all 5 board members in their first terms of office, we are seeing great things from our school district. We have Dr. Brian Williams taking over as interim superintendent, and we should see a new superintendent by August. We now have a University Heights resident again on the school board, and she's here tonight. She's also our new school board president. The preschool programs at Garrity, Noble, and Oxford Elementary Schools were each awarded 5-star ratings by the Ohio Department of Education. And yes, a 5-star rating is the highest rating an early childhood program can receive and reflects the school's commitment to excellence. Student enrollment in the CHUH district increased this past fall for the first time in 8 years, and only the second time in the past 17 years. And enrollment in Heights High School increased for the 3rd straight year, with a 4.2% jump this past fall, the largest annual increase in 20 years. The middle school renovations at Roxborough and Monticello Middle Schools are near completion and are on schedule to be completed by July, with the buildings ready for staff and students by August. Which brings us back to Wiley. The City of University Heights is committed to working with the CHUH School Board to determine the future for the Wiley property. The loss of our community's middle school was decided years ago by the predecessors of the people now in office at the school board and in both of our cities. In what to do from here, I take inspiration from the city of Lakewood, when Lakewood Hospital closed a few years ago. Once the closure of Lakewood Hospital was certain and irreversible, city officials and the community got together to work on what the future of the site of the former hospital would be. The site is 5.9 acres in the middle of the densest city in Ohio. And later this year, Lakewood will break ground on a new community space and mixed-use development, one worthy of their city, one that takes the loss of a community asset and creates a new community asset. In what to do from here, I also take inspiration from our own city's history. I think of Earl Aurelius in 1941, the newly elected mayor of Ohio's newest village turned city. The newspapers and observers from all around marveled at this new city of homes. With a booming population of just under 6,000 people, a city without a downtown, without a commercial business district, without an industrial base, a city made up of little more than planned neighborhoods, a university, and an old town hall. Mayor Aurelius got to work. Under his leadership, the original Cedar Center shopping district was built, and across the street from there, a 9-hole golf course transformed into the first suburban location in Cuyahoga County for May Company, which we called Mays on the Heights, the predecessor of the Macy's that sits on that site today. With the closure of Wiley, we have a once-in-a-generation opportunity to make something that will improve our community for decades. 12 acres to build something that renews our sense of community, that creates jobs, that could be the home of new businesses, offices, laboratories, the home of new municipal and school board facilities, of new community space, of things that grow our community and build our tax base. The tax base for our city and for our city schools. These things will not happen overnight, but they must happen. And working together, we will make them happen. In the year and 6 weeks I have held this office, no day has been routine. Every day has been an opportunity to serve and make a real difference in improving our community. The privilege to do this for you and for our city is not one that I take for granted. When you are the mayor, you have no idea how long you get to do that. I would never want to look back on this time and think I did not do everything I could to improve our city. I never want to look back and feel like I held back. President Barack Obama, in his final address as president, gave the charge. If something needs fixing, lace up your shoes, do some organizing, grab a clipboard, get some signatures, and run for office yourself. Before I did this, I doubted that I was worthy of it. And I'm still not sure I believe it. But I do believe in the strength of our ideas, and that the future of our city depends on their fulfillment. Looking back on our goals, we have restored our safety services. We are investing in our future. We are renewing our housing. We have established an economic development department, and it is busy at work. We are transforming City Beautiful into a CIC, a tool to rebuild our city. And we've accomplished so much already, and yet there is still so much to be done. We see the way forward, growing our city and making it sustainable for the long run. Together, we will reach new heights. Together, we will show the world how University Heights is so much more than home. We have a great history, but for University Heights, the best is yet to come. Thank you for coming out this evening. May God bless you and bless our city and America, and thank you. Thank you.